Happy. Stand by. Happy New Year, everyone! Woo! Welcome to the very first show of 2025, streaming live from our new ultra-modern studio here at TVC, ladies. Woo! I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I never do this alone. I have the ladies of YourView with me. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
How are you feeling in this our new space?
We're feeling it.
I mean, it's so timely. New year, new studio,
Yeah,
new vibe.
I'm telling you, new hairstyle too.
Yeah, you know.
You're looking gorgeous. How you doing, Amaka Fresh?
I'm fine, thank you.
Looking gorgeous. You're wearing my favorite color.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm happy to be here. And, you know, it's just that it's 2025. I can't even believe it. So I'm using this opportunity to do a shout out to my mom that is watching, my brother, my sister-in-law, my nephews. Everybody said they're going to watch me today. So I'm wishing you guys happy 2025. And it's going to be a blessed year for us all.
Fantastic.
Amen.
You look amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Elijah Nima Akashat Zibiri in the building. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm grateful. Very grateful.
I love the purple.
My daughter was saying, "Mommy, Happy New Year" this morning after prayers, and I was like, "It will be a blessed year."
Yeah.
So she's usually the first birthday. We're doing her birthday on Saturday. She'll be 12.
Oh, that's true.
So
Fantastic.
I'm just grateful to God for so many things. Last year was a lot of reward for sacrifices and pains in the past, and so I'm very hopeful that 2025 will be better.
Fantastic.
Much better.
Mariam Lunge, published author. How you doing?
I'm fine,
I love
thank
your
you.
outfit.
Thank you so
Just pass
much.
it down when you're done.
Yeah, no problem.
And
you and many others.
And the hairstyle is
Thank
giving.
you, thank you. I just thought, let's just be sustainable. We're getting there. We'll push Africa, push sustainability, everything. But I'm so grateful for 2025. I'm so grateful for the year that's just passed. So many things happened. Many things were put in their right positions. Many things were revealed. Many things became better. Some things were put aside. It was just a fantastic year, and I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so hopeful for 2025. And like Nima, I'm surrounded by a lot of Capricornians in my family. So I had a sister that had her birthday on the 30th. Today is my Sarah. Happy birthday, darling. Then there's Jane. Today's your birthday. We love you, Dr. Jane. My sister's birthday, Ramatu, is on the 2nd, so I'm just surrounded by everyone. So happy birthday to all of you. And I'm hoping that this year will be our best year yet.
Oh, fantastic. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. This is usually my signature outfit. I have the gilly
For
and
New
the-
Year,
yeah. So I'm
The
so
Mrs.
excited.
President look.
Yes, so I'm telling you, first lady, honestly. I'm so grateful. 2024, my brother said something to me a few weeks ago. He said, Mariah, you used to be in sleep mode, but now you're awake. And I was really excited. That resonated with me, and I've been holding on to that. I'm awake now. I'm no more in sleep mode, and that has helped me in a lot of things I've been doing. So I'm grateful to God. It's really interesting. I have family over, my brother, my husband's sister, and her husband, and their 4 kids are around from the US. And trust me, my whole house is spirit. Except for my African son. That's my last boy. that one is just, that one cannot be accented in all my other children. They're already speaking, within 24 hours, they started speaking American.
Well, he's the one that will shock you. My son used to be like that, but now he's dropping some accents. I'm like, bro,
are you serious?
what's happening?
I hope you're picking the right accent.
My brother, my son will say, we'll be talking to his cousin, it's not water, it's water.
Yes.
It's water. What are you talking about? It's water. Water.
So we were at extra large farms, and the kids were at the reception of the hotel playing video games. My son went with them, and most of them were this IJ.
Just got back.
And the next, my son came back. Hey, yo, hey. I said, realize who you are talking to if I daze you. The switch was 360.
Imagine.
It's just a environmental influence.
I can't understand Michelle again. I can't even understand her. She's talking to another
I'm so proud of her.
Thank you.
I like it.
I'm so
I know how to adjust.
She adjusted. I can't understand you, Michelle.
Environmental influence.
Well, it's fun. The kids, they're having a ball. Let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of today's headlines. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Your View will be right back.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to start with the nation. My 2025 goal, says Tinubu. How Nigeria others ushered in the new year. Asari Dokubo becomes the Aman Yabo of Piri Kingdom. We have also Nigeria's stock market makes global chart with 37.65% return. Nigeria has requested for Simon Ekpa's extradition, says CDS. Defense headquarters declares bandit leader Bello Tunji's dead walking. Is a dead man walking. I think that's all the story. What did I do? Let's take a story from the
Let
nation.
me take the Asari Dokubo and 4 others who were recognized as leaders of the monarchs in their communities in the River State monarchy. So the governor of River State, Governor Siminalayi Fubara, recognized the freedom fighter Mujahid Dokubo Asari and 4 others, and he presented them with the staff of office and certificate of recognition as monarchs in their various communities. So Asari Dokubo is now the Amanayabo of Turu Sarama Piri in Degema local government area of the state, as well as Wistin Odize Alamina, who is now the Amanayabo of Kuniju in Okrika local government. Eze Nobu Friday Uo is now the Eze Ibu Ehuda of the Aoda East local government area. Prince Ike Ehi is the Eze Ibu Orilukwe in Aoda East local government area also. So the governor also admonished all 5 monarchs to see their position as, a unifying. He said they should use that to partner with the government to promote peace and ensure that lives and properties are protected, and they should not see it as a personal aggrandizement but to see it as an honor and a call to service and responsibility to help the government in protecting lives and properties. Okay. I'm just, happy that, this is progressing, but I think the governor is settling well into office, even though he was earlier distracted.
Okay, so the notorious bandit and terrorist leader Bello Turji is a dead man walking, the military high command has declared. Turji is a notorious terrorist operating in the northwest, particularly Zamfara, Sokoto, and Niger states. I mean, that's the name that's quite popular that amongst the terrorists. He's made videos, threatening Nigeria and Nigerians and the peace. So the director of Defense Media Operation, Major General Edward Buba, said that while he was briefing the military in Abuja, he says he was giving them a breakdown of what they've done, in the year past. So first of all, he says over 10,000, that's 10,937 terrorists were killed by troops. Over 1,000 of their commanders, leaders have surrendered. Also, over 7,000 kidnapped victims were rescued. Troops also arrested 12,538 criminals, while 16,171 terrorists and their families surrendered. He says that it's important to realize that terrorists exist for the sake of war and must be destroyed for the sake of peace. He said the troops had sustained pressure on terrorist enclaves, hideouts, strongholds as an incentive to speedily defeat the terrorists and hastily end the war. And as you know, with war, we're happy, it's good to read the report and see how much work that they're doing. But something with war, no matter the success, it's just one failure is just terrible. And I'm just hoping that in this new year going forward, 2025, we're able to finally fight this terrorism and bring peace and security back to our country.
Okay, so the story I'm about to take is for economies, because the average Nigerian might not understand it, but it sounds really good. Nigerian stock market closed yesterday with a full year return of 37.65%, one of the 3 highest globally. Even America itself don't get this kind of result. The performance of Nigerian market in 2024 was boosted by FDIs at the Federal, the foreign portfolio investments, and also sustained by demand from local investors. Foreign capital inflow had risen steadily from low of about 4% in mid-2023. Furthermore, average returns at the Nigerian market surpassed return in advanced economies like the US by more than 15% points, more than quadrupled average returns across frontier emerging markets. So Nigeria is really doing well economically. Advanced markets of America and Europe recorded average return of about 21%, and we did 35%. The 12-month return of 35% implies that investors in Nigeria equities netted a capital of, wait for it, 15.41 trillion naira during the year. The stock market performance underlined equities as hedging securities with inflation rate of 34%. Now, as I said, many Nigerians don't understand these numbers, but lots of economists would appreciate the fact that it's looking like our numbers are looking good, and obviously it shows that foreign investors are beginning to trust in the Nigerian economy to put their money for. So hopefully this should mean better years ahead for Nigerians and our economy, and hopefully it will be strengthened. Okay, let's move on now to the Punch. Okay, got to find the Punch. So Tinubu promises massive food production and 15% inflation in 2025. I don't know how he's going to achieve that, from 30-something% to 15%. Opposition can't unseat Tinubu without merger, says PDP chair. That's according to 2027. FG invites Nigerian leader for talks to douse tension. Punch appoints Wumi Tunde Obe, executive director. Nigeria on life support when Tinubu took over, says Akpabio. Australians, Chinese, Koreans open New Year celebrations. There was a picture story here in Punch. 2 arrested for defrauding Canada-based Nigerian of 110 million naira. NERC orders discos to buy 95% power generation. Amaka, you have a story?
Yes, so no fewer than 952 Nigerians have been killed by Lassa fever, cholera, measles, and yellow fever in 2024. This is according to the data from the National Public Health Institute, Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention. A breakdown was given where it said that for measles, they recorded 18,187 cases, 73 deaths in 36 states. They also recorded for Mpox, they recorded 1,484 cases with 124 confirmed deaths across 28 states. The focus recently, the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research has revealed that they plan to develop homegrown vaccines as part of its efforts to transform itself by 2025. The director is saying that that Nigeria happens to be the first country to receive new MEN5 meningitis vaccine from the Vaccine Alliance funded global stockpile, with a shipment delivered by the United Nations Children's Fund, and also 10,000 doses of Mpox vaccines donated by the USA, becoming the first country in Africa region to receive doses to respond to Mpox outbreak. But basically, they are saying that in 2025, that their main goal is to be able to do research and to make sure that we have local vaccines for local issues that we have in Nigeria.
Okay, let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're still reviewing Punch, and I have a story with NERC. NERC orders discos to buy 95% power supply. So according to the article, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has declared that electricity distribution companies that fail to pick up at least 95% of the energy provided for 2 consecutive months will be penalized. As you recall, the generation companies provide electricity. Discos sometimes don't pick up all that is generated. They only take a few based on maybe capacity or who has paid or who hasn't paid. So they will say that they have to pick up 95% of what's being provided. The Commission disclosed this in a new regulatory instrument that was said to order on performance monitoring framework for distribution companies published on the website on Tuesday. Under the new regulation, all defaulting discos will forfeit 5% of its administrative operational expenditure for the following quarter if they refuse to pick up 95% of the power generated. The measure is part of NEXT's broader initiative to enhance accountability and improve the overall management and performance of the discos, ensuring more efficiency, distribution of electricity across the country. I hope it works.
Okay, so
I have the Rivers State Police Command has announced the arrest of 2 suspects, Michael Onyedikachi and his accomplice Akachuku Benedict, for their involvement in an online scam targeting a Canada-based Nigerian. So the case, they said, that involves a lady called Sandra Austin. She's a Nigerian who lives in Ontario, Canada, and she was deceived by suspects into transferring 110 million naira over 2 years. So let me just give like a summary. So she met one of them. She met the first suspect, Michael Onyedikachi, on Facebook, and his name on Facebook was Engineer Desmond Chibuike Okechukwu, and they got talking, and he mentioned that he was into property development and she was interested in building in Nigeria. And so, you know, they took their conversation from Facebook to WhatsApp, and he sent her pictures of luxury apartments that he had built. And over 2 years, he was able to convince her that it would cost 150 million for what she wanted to build. And so over 2 years, she gave him 110 million. In fact, she made the last 30 million payment, and then he blocked her everywhere. And so, of course, she fell ill and then got in contact with her family, and they started pursuing it. They really tried to, you know, stop her from getting any form of justice. But, you know, the police worked really hard concerning this. They, you know, one of the suspects confessed. They said that they used cryptocurrency, all sorts of fake names and whatever in order to hide, you know, their identities. But thankfully, you know, they have been arrested. And
Did they get the money back?
Yes.
You know, the money was returned?
Well, no,
yes.
at this
That's
point,
yes.
at this point, it's just that they have been arrested, and, you know, investigations have continued.
That's
wickedness.
Over 2 years, they will have finished chopping the money now.
it's
Free
sad,
money.
but let's congratulate our friend of the house, Mrs. Valerie Omowumi Obe, who is now an Executive Director of Business Development and Innovation at Punch Nigeria Limited. She was previously a non-executive director at the same establishment, and now she's been upgraded. Her appointment takes effect today. So congratulations to Mumi Obe. You know, I love that the story carries her resume. I'm surprised that she's into food, she's into hair, she's also a copywriter, she's into advertisement, and she's a graduate of Unilag. She studied philosophy. So she had a Bachelor's of Arts in Philosophy from the University of Lagos, and certificates in Entrepreneurship Essentials, as well as Design Thinking and Innovation from Harvard Business School online. She's also a natural air.
She's also a member of the Bordering family. That's a family business anyway. So I mean, it's important that. So
it's important.
I mean, it's important. It's part of
It's their family.
Yeah,
but
it's
you'll be
family,
sad
but-
that, you know, family member don't even have certificates.
No,
So
so
she
it's a big
qualifies.
family
Yeah.
and they qualify.
She
as that,
qualifies, yeah.
So she
It's
definitely
huge.
deserves it.
Yeah.
Okay, any other story in Sun? Look, let's move on now
Let's
to
The sun.
Punch.
We are going to Sun now.
Okay, we're going to Sun.
Yes.
It's a new year, Mariah. 2025, Tinubu, Atiku, Akpabio, all those raise hope and set agenda. FG to invest ₦1 billion in agriculture in selected polytechnics and varsities. Okpabolo visits Uzodimma, 6 healthy competition amongst governors. No tampering down on development speed. Mba assures Enugu residents. 2025, Labour to engage FG for another wage review. Okay, which story we have in Daily Sun?
So the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has said the federal government in the second quarter of 2025 will invest 1 billion naira in selected polytechnics and universities who are already into agriculture to help tackle food insecurity in the country through farming. This is great news. He said the money will help the selected institutions improve on agriculture outputs as Yaba College of Technology, Lagos, prepares to have an edge as one of the beneficiaries. He said they visited the 77-year-old Institute of Epe campus, and he also said that the purpose of this visit is to raise further awareness on the 6-point agenda and encourage polytechnics and universities with agricultural departments to establish mechanized farms and engage in livestock farming, to also encourage the agriculture students to have hands-on trainings, you know, to help them develop key skills needed for life, after graduation. And this will also support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's goal to enhance food security. Finally, he said that, you know, Nigeria, we have great aerial lands, and then we should key into that. We have great natural resources. We should harness the innovative capabilities of our tertiary institutions to revolutionize agriculture. This is good. So hopefully, at least when they start now, by harvest time, we hope that in 2025 we're going to have more food than we had in 2024.
Okay.
I have no wastage.
Well, we need food. Remember 2020 for all the, and then prices of food comes down, hopefully. But I took the story from Enugu State. The governor of the state shared his first of the year's message with his people. So I took him particularly because in 2024, lots of good news was coming out of that state. He seemed like, you know, he got his act together. So I was quite curious to see what his message is for his people. And first of all, he's urging all Nigerians to kindle the fire of love, empathy, and charity to move the nation forward in the new year. And then he also mentioned that, you know, they started off the, you know, previous year running, and you know, the people of Enugu State will see more of that. He says in a few days' time, the people will witness the formal commissioning of some major capital projects that have been completed, smart green schools to the breathtaking International Conference Center, primary healthcare centers that expand quality medical care to four remotest locations in our state, as well as several kilometers of urban and rural roads, bus terminals designed to restore order and dignity to our public transport. So it seemed like they've been working hard, and 2025 would be a year that, you know, some of these things will be, they will begin to see the benefit of all the work that they have done. He said that the doors of our smart schools will open across the entire state, bringing almost in a literal sense of a world of opportunities to our children's classrooms. Through these smart schools, they have caught glimpses of wholesome transformation that children will experience when exposed to a range of practical and impactful learning. For me, I'm always for education, and when we understand that, you know, as a governor, when you understand that and what your people need, especially as the younger generation who will be the future of the, you know, of the state, I like that he has made that investment. And he said, finally, you know, which I found quite inspiring, he says that let people not be too concerned about chasing their own dreams, that they are insensitive to the needs of all the others around them. So in your chasing, please remember there are others too, so that you're more sensitive and, you know, more caring and have more empathy towards others. Yeah.
Very, very important. So my governor Okpebolo. I'm wondering why people call it Bolo, because there's a H, there's an H after it, and that H silences the, it makes it a bit.
So what's the correct?
How do you say?
It's Okpebolo. So everybody's just doing Bolo.
But I think Morayo particularly likes to call that name. There's a way when she gets to the name, she says
it's don't mind me. Yeah, he visited Governor Uzodinma of Imo State, who is the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, and of course he was thanking him for his support during the elections and promises that, you know, he would do well and he would lead his people. He went in the company of his deputy as well as that of the party leader in his constituency, in Edo North, Senator Shomole, and they were just thankful for the support of Governor Hope Uzodinma, who has also promised to ensure that he delivers, and has enjoined him to also not disappoint the people of Edo. I hope that after their chit-chat, all the advice will be taken seriously.
Okay, finally, I have the story of Joe Ajero, that's the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress. He has said that they will continue to engage the federal government on another salary review in 2025. Furthermore, he said that in his New Year message, he stressed the need for the government at all levels to adhere to provision of the 2024 national minimum wage, and also the plan to they're asking the federal government to withdraw the tax reform bill, to engage more robust conversations and have that across the nation, have more conversations and have people engage more. The welfare of citizens remains the primary justification of the existence of any government, and they're saying that they would expect that all national stakeholders are part of the process by engaging more on the tax bill. Also, they said they said quite a few things in his opening remark, but let me just summarize it by saying that it was a good message to Nigerians and asking that all of us be part of the social change that we're hoping to get in this country. Okay, I think that's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we come back to New Year, we'd love to hear from Nigerians. What are your thoughts? The president gave an opening speech this morning, and it was quite interesting. He made quite a few important remarks, review of the year. I would like to hear Nigerians' views on it, and also your plans for 2025, and looking back to what 2024 looked like and what you hope to change in this new year. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, more to our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his New Year message to Nigerians this morning, said that 2025 will bring many hopes, aspirations, and prospects for better days. According to him, to all citizens, your sacrifices have not been in vain over the past 19 months. I assure you, they will not be in vain even in the months ahead. Now, what are your thoughts? How did the speech this morning make you feel? Do you get any sense of hope? Do you believe in the indices that he had laid out for our growth? Do you connect with the successes that the president had itemized? What are your thoughts on it? You can send us messages on YouTube, on X. Also, you can call us on the numbers on your screen so that we can definitely pick your calls. Let's hear your views. Ladies of YourView, what do you guys think? I mean, the president's speech to me this morning was quite interesting. I mean, I think he mentioned a few things about the CNG. He applauded the governor's participation on the CNG and a few other things. What are your own general thoughts on it? Let me start, Amaka.
Okay, so first, I'm happy that he acknowledged the sacrifices Nigerians have made within this past months. At least that's a great thing. He noticed that the citizens and households we suffered. We all suffered.
How did I know you're going to start on that place?
Yes, but at least I love the fact that before you start saying any other thing you want to do, first of all, acknowledge that people have made sacrifices for you to be here, for your agenda that you want to bring out. That there's a lot of sacrifice that's been made, a lot of suffering has happened. But then in saying that, I'm also happy with the things that he has stated moving forward that they want to do, and to acknowledge that within this December period, the Naira traded against the dollar a bit, that with the refineries now kicking up, that fuel prices have reduced and they'll continue to reduce. So that's great. With them pumping in this 1 billion into the agricultural sector now for polytechnics and universities, at least we hope that within the last quarter of the year, there will be abundance of food. We like that. I also love the fact that with the National Credit Guarantee Company, that should be kicking off from the second quarter of the year, that there will be credit facilities for the citizens. You can't say you want your economy to start producing or manufacturing locally when there's no credit available for companies or people to work with. So that's fantastic. And then I also love how he has also stated that the inflation, they will work on the inflation, reducing from the 34.6% to 15%. Anything is possible.
From
because he's a man with a plan.
To 15%.
Anything is possible.
If we increase production, but how we're going to do it? But I mean, again, these are...
And I'm hoping he's even being conservative. Maybe he's looking at the numbers that you had mentioned, that you had read out earlier, where for economics, economies and those they understand it, and maybe then we'll get to see how that reflects. But as you know, the common Nigerian man is waiting until he reflects it. When I go to buy that tuber of yam in the market, is it expensive? Yes, how much is it? Is it cheaper? Or if it's not cheaper, do I have more money to be able to buy what is out there? Yes.
And then I also love the fact that at the end of the day, he's saying that thank you so much for believing in me and give me more time to see my agendas come into play. At least they're pushing for foreign investors to come into the economy, investments, and so let's see.
Okay. I mean, you want to go, Mariam?
Yeah, let me go. So for me, it's a first year message. Like I've heard these messages from many presidents, you know, from before, which is usually optimistic, thanking you for the sacrifices and hoping for a better year, you know. So, but I wanted to instead highlight something that I felt that is quite important, which is he says he will launch an ambitious national orientation campaign that fosters patriotism and love for our country and inspires citizens to rally together. And I know that just before his administration came into play, the election period, we saw the division, like how far we went with each other, calling out our differences, saying some of the worst things to each other. And I'm happy that this has now become an agenda for our country, where it's important to teach us the importance of being together, that working together it's better for us, it benefits us better than when we're separated or when we're apart. I like that now we would have a message about patriotism. You know, we always say, what does the flag mean to the Nigerian person on the street? What does the national anthem mean to us? What does it mean to be a Nigeria in another country, knowing you're not just representing yourself and your family, but your country as a whole? So I'm looking forward to seeing what this messaging will be, how far-reaching it will be, and then how eventually it will help us have a different mindset, a more positive mindset, and that we will remember that even though government has a role to play, that we too have a role to play. And sometimes some of the things that we do sabotages our economy, sabotages our national identity, and that, you know, we'll just be more patriotic and much more in love with our country. And
I agree
do well
with
for
you
our country.
a bit. I agree with you a bit. And the reason why, I'll come to you, Nima, for your thoughts in a minute. The reason why I'm a bit reluctant to get excited about this initiative is because we've been through this path before. There was a time, I think, as Dora Kunili was in charge of national orientation. She came up with this great nation thing. There were concerted efforts to get Nigerians to be more patriotic. But for me, I feel like it's not about creating all this messaging that will get Nigerians, but this is how we're going to become patriotic. You see, people would connect with results. When your country is good, right now, Nigerians are globally connecting the fact that Nigerians are doing well abroad. But like the knowledge center of Africa, people see us as this really excelling, like the most proudest black nation in the world. You know, so those good accolades are gradually giving us that kind of sense of pride of who we are, that when you need Nigerian is somewhere, we know Nigerian is there. So these are the things that naturally take its own course. I get what the government wants to do. Even if you initiate it, these things, you can't get somebody to be patriotic. You can't force me to be patriotic if I don't believe in this nation. So it has to be done such that it's a natural thing.
So that's what I feel that he's doing, because we have done it based on feeling or what we're seeing, but now we're going to be more, the way that I interpret this is that we're going to be more intentional about the messaging. It will not just be based on how I feel or how I see this person doing, or how, you know, oh, this person is doing better, or Nigerians are doing well.
Framework.
So it will be that in addition to something that is intentional, messaging that is intentional, conversations that are intentional, movies, videos, you know, all sorts of things that will be more intentional towards fostering patriotism. But
and
I
it
hope it works.
And it cuts across the rebranding that we keep talking about, like, because when that happens and then it starts up the rebranding of Nigeria, whereby even the people in diaspora can now have better things to say, because now the conversation just intertwines and everybody sees that
let me hear Nima's thoughts.
Just to add to what you're saying, it's not a 360, it's not a magic wand effect. It's psychology. So an average Nigeria has been hit by, you know, a Nigerian doing something to you. We took a story of Nigerians on Facebook who decided to defraud a woman over time of about 150 million. And we see, whenever these things happen, we see them in our movies. We see the bad police officer in our movies. We have the impression, the wrong impression of Nigerians, because Nigerians present that to other Nigerians. And so to make someone believe in this country is to make someone else stand up with the right values towards another. It's with us, it's not by promoting I am Nigeria, Nigeria loves. It's the way I treat Morayo, the way I treat Mariam, that will give Mariam and Morayo the belief that, you know, a Nigerian is a good person, and then the Nigeria spirit is a good one. Over time, it's possible, but it's not a 360 thing. Everybody has a role to play in it, and we must play it diligently well. Because when I go to the hospital and I'm made to queue for hours, and, you know, a preferential treatment is given to someone else, when my baby is hot, or, you know, all of that, I just go and say Nigeria has happened, whereas it's Nigerians who are happening to us. We are the ones looking at our brothers and thinking, oh, this one is not as close to me, it's not my tribesman, my kinsman, as much as the other person. And you know, we allow these things happen. When you take out drugs from the pantry or the pharmacy in a general hospital that is supposed to be free for children and sell it in your pharmacy, that's where the problem starts.
So I agree with you.
Also eventually,
so the point I was trying to make, which I agree with all of you, yes, the country should give us a framework of patriotism where we know that, okay, these are the things, these are the tenets we've agreed, this is the Nigerian dream, this is what we are about. However, I think more sustainably, what will really make Nigerians be more patriotic is that natural evolution of who we are becoming. Because we are gradually emerging as this people, culturally diverse, stronger.
So we are that.
Yes, we are that, but we never acknowledged it.
But we do acknowledge in our private spaces. You know, but you know, we collectively
we travel abroad,
complain about government. So when we need to hit government, we don't acknowledge that.
Yes.
But we know we are proudly Nigerian. When Lukman Ademola got the CAF recognition, we were proudly Nigerians. We were proudly Nigerian when we need to be. But you see, this thing about not having belief in Nigeria is about how a Nigerian treats another. And it's the psychology of that Nigerian who gets rewarded by, you know, not treating your fellow Nigerian well, or a foreigner well, that we must change. Over time, the belief will come back to our people, knowing that I am safe and secure with another Nigerian in doing business, you know, in anything that we do. In those days, I remember growing up, I had two strangers who were lost at night, who slept in my house. And they continued to say, in Nigeria, Nigerian people are just warm, because after sleeping that first night, they became family members and stayed their entire university years living with us. So people will have those one-off stories, but we can have it a collective story. Yeah. We can be able to
stories
describe,
that we tell.
Yeah,
because sometimes we don't tend to tell those stories. You know,
and the amazing thing is, who can drive a narrative better than the youths? So you can see that the government, they are also trying to include the youth with the youth confab.
Yeah, I saw that. So again, I'm being very careful. As nice as it sounds, we've had there was a confab that was done. Jonathan did a confab even before Jonathan. There was a previous confab that was done, and I see the direction of a youth confab, but exactly to what objective? What are we trying to achieve with the youth confab? Okay, to hear their views. So I mean, are we going to ensure? I mean, I know we have the law that gives a certain percentage of youth participation in politics and governance. However, to what end exactly are we trying to involve the young people? How the modalities? Although they said that the Minister of Youth will give us the modalities of that youth confab, but I'm just very curious of what exactly would that look like.
We have a very huge youth population, and if we don't find something to do about it, this whole drive will just die.
And we have to listen to the youth also to know where they come in, and even if it means empowering them with this new credit guarantee now that wants to come up, and so you need to know.
But I'd like Nima to finish that thought of the fact that we have quite a
very huge youth population, and to change anything is to focus on that population and the next generation coming after them. It's important that if we must change this psychology, it has to be with them. Look at the what's it called, netizens. The people on Twitter tweeting, they are the ones who find money to sub, they call it sub, and do this, and you know they continue to push the narrative of it can't work. If you find 2-3 people amongst them who are in this confab, the youth confab, and they are of the privilege, every other person will come and say, oh, is because their father is so and so. So if you must do it, capture that everybody. Find a way to bring everybody, and let it be a confab of not the elites, not the privileged. Let it be the confab of the real youth who needs to change mindset. There's an institution, the Jakonde Academy in Lagos, that is doing something like that. I've seen a few of their graduates, and there are people that I know they don't have those kind of connections, and you know it's important.
For me to, you know, when I saw the youth confab, I said, yes, we've had many conversations like this, and you know, as much as I understand some of the misgivings, your concerns that you have, which is, we've seen this before, we've heard this before, but then this is a New Year's message. It wasn't really sitting down to give a breakdown. So I'm hoping that in the course of the year, we'll see how this is broken down. He's made a few promises, and I've seen that this particular administration finds way of following through with it. So I'm a bit confident on that that's the same spirit in which we'll see how this youth confab and the orientation, the national orientation message will be done. But I also, for me, that he mentioned particularly the youth confab made me think, you know, this administration is paying attention to what is important. We've talked about how I've seen some administration almost act as if the youth don't exist. And you mentioned the percentage of Nigerians that are young in our country. Remember this Badenoch story when someone was criticizing her, a British person as well, was saying that she should be careful, like some of the things that she says about the fast-growing economy in Nigeria with one of the youngest population. You know, they understand the power of the youth abroad. You know, everyone else understands the power of the youth in different countries. It's something that they are worried about in countries like Japan. That's a dying economy because they don't have such a large youth population.
Their doors to our young people.
But we have it's a huge resource. And I'm happy that the president understands, or this administration understands that we need to bring them to the table. And I love that point that you made because it was my biggest point too, which is not the usual. It's not this person's son, this person's daughter, this person's uncle's niece. Or just bring them. You know where we are. The Nigerians are cut across. Nigerian youths are everywhere. Bring them, those who know exactly what it feels to be Nigerian youth in Nigeria, going through the daily rigors of living in Nigeria, and bring them to conversations like this, and we'll see, you know, a great.
I'm really hopeful.
And we should also encourage the Nigerian youth to participate. It's one thing to say you're not going to go to people's houses to draw them out. So Nigerian youth should also be encouraged now that they've given you a platform to work with. Volunteer, be part of change. You have to be present to say what's happening in your community, so we really know and hear you.
Let me come to Nima, because I know Nima. Let me take you up a bit on this, because I know when the president was flying around the world, you're like, oh, don't leave all this on Brazil. Why are you going to come meet there for all this money? Leave us within us. Let us find out our solution within. But he's also telling us that a lot of these trips have yielded results, because many companies have invested, many companies abroad have invested money, and many have even made returns. I mean, I read it in the papers today. Some have made trillions and trillions of naira of returns. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that we should still continue these FDIs, or we should just stay close our borders?
So even though, I'd rather that, you know, we manage our resources locally by ourselves. When I was trending with the 30 BJ people, is because, you know, somebody had said, do not come here. I know how important it is for investments to come in. It will create employment. This our youth population that we're talking about are largely unemployed, and I know how important it is. I see the struggles of Nigeria. In my rice farm, I see how Nigerians struggle daily. You know, I see what people go through. So I cannot even underestimate that. I like the fact that the president was talking about, you know, how this has our stock exchange is doing. He also talked about, I'm trying to get the figures. He said our stock market has recorded growth. It's generated trillions of naira in wealth. And there's a surge in foreign investments. I like that. You know, it excited me. It meant that, you know, people, not only were people getting employed, people were certainly getting, you know, profits. People were becoming wealthy, and you know, but after that, I don't answer you as I can answer. Let me talk on the cost of food. He acknowledged, because that was one general problem. Everybody, even when we see the facts, we see that our FDI is increasing. We see that our foreign reserves has gone up. We've seen that our naira became strengthened. And just to ask you, has it changed the cost of bread? Tomato is still cost and all of that. Even this price of bag of rice is still 100 and something thousand. You know, I was at a resort during the Christmas break, and we were supposed to go to a beach in Cotonou. The price of the trip remained the same in Cotonou currency. But because of our dollar naira exchange, it was about 80,000 naira for just one day trip per person. Over there, when I did the maths, I told the children, go and swim in the on our water. You know, but those are the problems that Nigerians face every day. And, you know, I like the president saying he's taking deliberate efforts to change that, saying they're going to boost food production, they're going to promote local manufacturing of essential drugs. This was what somebody criticized me. Some people wrote me an episode saying the companies that have left here, Reckitt Bank, they called all the, all the drug pharmaceutical companies that have left and saying that's why we're suffering. Do you know what it is to buy inhaler now? Do you know what, and all of that. And I think last year there were some policies were geared towards this, but we didn't see results. I hope that now that the president is saying this deliberately, that this is what he wants to work on and is looking at reducing inflation, I hope that we will see the right result, which automatically should just translate to a drop in prices, where people can then afford things that they want, particularly food and drugs. These are basic.
Okay, let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we conclude this conversation, but I'd really like you guys, ladies, to think about what advice would you give Mr. President if he was listening to you this morning as regards how to engage Nigerians going forward? Now, he has given us his speech, but how would we as Nigerians like the president to engage us going forward in 2025? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So we're still talking about our president's speech, but this time around, let's hear from Nigerians. You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 090-241-63440. Let me take that again, 090-241-63440. You can also send us messages on X and on YouTube. We'll be happy to read your messages. What's your advice for Mr. President? And what do you think he's doing right? What should he continue? What should he stop doing? And how do you think he can begin to engage Nigerians going forward? Amaka, want to start?
For any change to be quite visible, it takes time. That's the reality, right? This is a new administration. He has shown us that there's a plan.
Yes.
And he's been following the plan. Let's give him that. He's been consistent with his point agendas. He's not deviated from that. So first of all, I applaud the consistency of following the plan.
Okay.
Yes. Then I love the fact that he said that we begin to manufacture our own drugs, but it's important for the standard organization this is a time for them to work. We've seen cases of, the fake drugs, substandard drugs, and we see what it can do to your liver and kidney. It's a killer. When we know, unfortunately, that Nigerians have also had the bad habit for fast money to bring in fake drugs, to bring in substandard drugs.
Right.
So for the president to take on this project, there has to be strict measures in place to follow that. That's one. Then secondly, I also love the CNG initiative and how they're trying to follow through. But then, like we all know, our national grid and electricity cannot keep failing, and we need electricity to enable Nigerians and people like me to transition from this to this.
Fantastic.
Yes, so, and I love what Lagos State has done with electricity, so hopefully within the coming months.
So NERC has handed over to Lagos State now, so which is the good thing. Oh, we have a caller. Hello! First caller 2025! Welcome to the show. Hello.
We're too excited.
Oh yeah, our excitement disconnected again. Good to have. Hope to have a call up.
Yes.
So,
so with Lagos State having done that, hopefully other states will copy.
Exactly.
And then all the changes and the agendas that the president has, we'll start seeing positive.
Let me take another call. I'm taking another call up. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hello?
Yay! What's your name? What's your name? Oh, yikes. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. Who?
Muna jin Hausa, amma.
Okay.
To muna ji. Okay. Muna ji.
He's not calling from Nigeria.
No, he's talking about Nigeria, but in Hausa. But it's just that he's breaking up, so I can't hear him properly. Muda Janka. Okay. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Okay,
Yay,
so he
what
was
did he
breaking
say?
up. I didn't hear much,
Yeah.
but he has some criticisms. He's
Okay.
talking about the prices of things. So I'm not sure if he talked about fuel or was it food. I can't remember. I mean, I didn't quite get that,
Yeah.
but it was just criticizing that we should please tell the president that if we used to buy this at a certain price and we're buying this at this price now, it's not acceptable. The
Okay.
president needs to know that. Yes.
Fantastic.
that's-
Thank you
that's
very
one-
much for that feedback.
That's where I was going to come with my feedback from.
Yes.
You know, so we've seen.
Let me hang you for a second. I have
Okay.
another caller. Good morning. Thanks for calling. Hello? Okay, I think we lost that. Yes, go ahead, sir. Good morning, sir. Is this MTN?
Is it your view? No, I think it's the wrong number.
Okay.
This is a new phone line. It's a new connection. It's a new studio. So we'll give it some time. You know, some network issues, but don't worry. Keep trying. Would love to hear from you. Yes, Nima, go ahead.
You know, so we've seen certain policies that were supposed to ameliorate things. For instance, the CNG and the target of, you know, the public transport system in the conversion. They prioritized all this public transport, interstate transport system. The NURT were number one in the conversion. But has it changed the price of anything? No. The cost of a bag of rice is sitting as the same as an individual all the way from Bida to Lagos. And so we know that Nigerians enjoy increased prices and they hate to drop prices. And we see our people complain about the price of food. It will seem like the president will have to take his pankere to the market and beat every driver to compel that to reflect in the cost of, you know, all food stuff and everything. But we know that we know there's a role we have to play.
Yes.
You know, in drop of food prices. We saw the intervention, the waiver that was put in the importation of certain food stuff that came into the country. Did it change anything? They say Nigeria now price they always go up. One of the things that never come down is
Fuel don't
prices,
come down
you know.
now.
You know, fuel don't come down, but
Yeah.
it never change price of anything. You know, and so we know we too have that role. We must play that role. You know, I was discussing with my husband, and he was like, these refineries, it must have been worried that, you know, because it happened so fast. I said, no. We saw approval, we saw failure of, you know, the refineries. When this Delta man was Minister for State for Petroleum, and he couldn't even approach his president at the time. And we see that when the president came in, we on the table heard about, you know, the refineries picking up. And they were going to be, and they gave a deadline for the end of 2023, I think, and we criticized and said it was impossible. But when we now saw that he picked up, now Warrior has picked up as well, it's important to say that given time, this will reflect in the ease of life of an average Nigerian. We refine here, it should drop prices. If we refine here, things should be easier for us. We have taken out the external factors, the need for the dollars, the need for the foreign exchange to bring in a product that God has so blessed us with, that is abundantly within our soil. So little by little, it should reflect if we are not happening to ourselves, because we call it Nigeria. Nigeria is a blessed, abundantly blessed nation, and it can only happen in good and positivity towards us. But Nigerians should start to do their part in making sure that things are better for their people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I have.
Okay, so sorry, I just wanted to chip in
Okay.
what you said. And you know, the good thing is, sometimes when hardship happens in life, it creates room for opportunities. Now, we now know that we just don't have to rely on just one natural resource. We have so much that we can do as a country. It has opened up our eyes, and then the youth and citizens generally to now try other methods and other ways of boosting our economy. So maybe in itself, it might
a
be a good
blessing.
thing. Yes, a blessing.
Okay,
So-
for me, the advice would be, so this particular administration there's nothing new that this administration is going to say that we haven't heard before. Or new policies. There's nothing that is just extraordinary, unique to this administration. No. Everything is conversations that had happened. So what is unique? What should be unique going forward is implementation. We need to see the accountability, transparency. You know, every administration, I mean, since I was born and I was old enough to understand what the president is supposed to do, what our government is meant to do, we have seen these promises. The promises have gone on year in year.
We assure you.
We are assured every 4 years, every 8 years, but we just never see the follow through, you know. And for me, that is what I would like this administration to work on, especially when it comes to transparency and accountability. The reason is, that is the way that you would help encourage the youth to be involved. Nigerians are so, what was the word I'm looking for? You know, distrustful of the government, because you have said this before and you never follow through. And we're, you know, as much as we criticize the government, Nigerians really are yearning for a better Nigeria. They want to also be involved, but they want to make sure that when you call me or when you say these flowery words, that you mean it, and you want for me to, when I come in to give my best, it is appreciated. It is not given based on any relationship I know. And then when you ask us to, sorry, you have a call?
Yeah.
Should I go on? Okay. So if you have, sorry, just take that call.
Okay, sorry about that. That's Good morning. Thanks for calling. Hello.
Good morning.
Our very first female caller. Welcome to the show. Your name, please.
Jessica.
Jessica, you're live. Go ahead, please.
I got to wish you Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you so much, Jessica. God bless you. Happy New Year to you too. Yes, you're saying.
Yes. So
But I'm watching my channel right now.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank
you,
you,
Jessica. Go ahead.
Okay, so you know, I was saying that government, this administration asked us to tighten our belts. As quite a bit of us, you know, coming in. And many Nigerians are able to point to some government officials, relatives, or whatever, who they feel are not tightening their belts.
Yes.
So this administration has to look into that carefully. Please, whoever it is that represents you, either politically, family-wise, whatever, that person or those group of people need to understand that there is a New Hope agenda, and there is a picture that was trying to show Nigerians. You must also wear that, you must also reflect it.
Absolutely.
There's one thing to have policy and a group of people who talk, working on it, and there's one thing to look like what you are asking Nigerians to do. And that's one thing I've been hearing over and over this holiday. Like, we don't think that the government is tightening its belt as it has asked us to. Then secondly, it's about food prices. Many people have complained over and over. Many people have said this particular holiday was really tough on them. Some of the things that they could use to afford, they were not able to afford this holiday. And it will be, I'm happy to hear that the president is making those investments. But as we say, policy is one thing. Please make sure that we follow through to see that these investments really come to fruition. You know, they reflect in the everyday life of our people. Agriculture, I can't say to Nigeria, oh, we have resources beyond petrol. We know, since we were little kids, we've always known that we have resources beyond crude oil. What we need is policies, implementation of these policies, execution of these policies, and then we need to fight corruption in the way that, you know, allows for Nigerians to it brings back hope, you know, to this country and to Nigerians, that there is, you know, that we're finally leaving, we have to leave this particular level of constantly promising and failing, and just promise, do, and then Nigerians see the work that's been done and it reflects in their everyday life.
For me, and finally on this, is this fact that for my own advice to Mr. President is, I like the fact that he's really focused. You know, I think you used the word consistently. Yeah, so he's consistent and he's doing his job. You know, sometimes you get presidents who are constantly distracted by the issues that are going on. So it's good for you to be focused. Yes, you have people who are giving you feedback, but I like that there seems to be a plan that is being adhered to. But more importantly for me, I think that the Renewed Hope agenda has not cut across. Yes, you might be saying you've renewed hope, but there are some people within the local government, within the state government, within the judiciary, within different levels of government, they are yet to align with your renewed hope agenda, and it's important that it trickles down because it's how they project. It goes to what Mariam was saying. You're telling somebody to tighten their belt. If somebody is aligned with renewed hope, they know that their job right now is to birth new hope in Nigerians, and to do that, you do that by showing opulence and throwing money around. You show that by showing empathy, sympathy for your people, and understanding that things should change. Yeah.
So since you've appointed certain people to help carry this new hope
Vision.
agenda, renewed hope agenda across, can you do a sort of follow? Don't just take their word for it.
Yeah.
I think the president trusts.
Spot checks, yes,
Trusts too
across.
much, yeah.
And I like the job the HR is doing. That's Hadisa Bala. Her job is to ensure KPIs, making sure everybody is working according to the objectives of the government. Well,
Really tough
wishing
job.
the president the best this year, and that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we're bringing our very first guest of 2025. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So, in the last month, the only topic in Nigeria, the only conversation in Nigeria was this tax reform policy. Well, with us in the studio, the chairman, Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Mr. Taiwo Idili, has said that illicit funds in Nigeria, such as money laundering or proceeds of crime, will also be taxed under the controversial tax reform bills. Joining us right now to speak is the man himself to share with us his thoughts and explain further to Nigerian on this tax reform is Mr. Taiwo. Welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you.
It's so good. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to Nigeria.
So before you became the big boy in the presidential cabinet, you used to come to our show almost all the time, and we used to have access to like this.
and
We
that's
call you
why
like
I'm here
this.
today. That's
Now,
why I'm here today.
now, to call you is wahala. We
They
calling
give
you,
me
but
too much work to do. That's why.
but listen, as I said, the tax reform bill has been the conversation in every Nigerian's lips. There's been wide consultations. We've seen you everywhere talking to the National Assembly, to state governors, to various stakeholders. You've done quite a bit. So, but some people say till today they don't know what they are done. They don't still understand. I mean, I read in the papers today. NLC is still saying they are telling the federal government to withdraw because they still need wide conversation. I think it's how wide do you want this conversation? So, for those who still have no idea what this tax reform bill, just give us in a nutshell the 5 steps or the 5 various points of this the tax reform bill that you're proposing.
Yeah, thank you very much, and Happy New Year once again. And your studio is beautiful. So
Thank
it's
you.
a pleasure to be here. I think let me start with good news for the new year.
Okay.
So some of the things we have been working on for over 1 year, it's not just those tax bills.
Okay.
Even though that's what almost everybody thinks that we are doing solely. And last year in July, we got an approval for a new withholding tax regulation, and it was gazetted in October, and it takes effect today.
Ooh! You heard it first on Your View?
Yes.
Yes? Fantastic.
So that new regulation would exempt small businesses from withholding tax.
Oh my
It
God.
will exempt manufacturers.
Really?
It would also ensure that
That means we'll go into
for a lot of even large businesses, the withholding tax that they have to pay, the rate is reduced significantly.
Okay.
Let us speak that in Nigerian English.
Yes.
Amaka is a small business owner. Nima is a rice seller.
Yeah.
Those small,
Yeah,
how do you define a small business? Is it
Yeah.
people like Nima or people like, that like Yasikira at the
Yeah,
body
so,
shop?
so the Yasikiras, if your annual turnover is 25 million or less,
Okay.
which in the bills we're going to increase to 50, but as of today, 25 million naira or less, you will not have to charge withholding tax when you receive any invoice, and when you are being paid, nobody will deduct withholding tax on you as well.
Okay.
So that allows you to conserve your money
Profit,
to
yeah.
do more business
Oh,
and so
fantastic.
manufacturers no withholding tax as well. And even for large businesses, like I said, some of them have very little profit margin.
Okay.
So we have a sector where they were being asked to pay withholding tax of 10% on their turnover. And their profit margin is not even up to 10%. So we reduced that to 2% from 10.
That's good.
Yes. So, and even when people pay withholding tax, it's not supposed to be an additional tax, but they don't get the credit note on time. It's too complicated.
Exactly.
We've created in that new framework for you to write your own receipt and be able to use it. So this is a huge relief for businesses, and I think it's a good note to start from 2025.
Fantastic. That's great news. Great news.
You know what saddens me is that we clap like this, and then there's still opposition to, you know, the entire reform.
Yeah.
And I wanted to even pick on your mindset. How do you feel, you know, doing something that you think has solved a lot of problems? Because I consider it realistic. There are small businesses who hate it when the tax people come to them. I'm struggling. I never pay NEPA bill. I saw a young man on 2 days ago. I was buying from. I was like, when you open this your shop, it was full. See, your shop is empty. You're a Nigerian youth. You don't lazy. The boy said, no, auntie. The person that helped me gave me loan. I'm paying him back. I paid 800 of the money. I've not even paid the rest. I was like, I was shocked to find out. So there are certain businesses. It's just realistic to know that businesses in this category who should not be burdened. You know, but we now hear people who have read all these laudable things and think, cancel it. They have not consulted us. They have not carried us. So how do you feel seeing, you know, people react like this?
To be honest, I don't take it personal. If you have a country of more than 200 million people, it would be unrealistic to expect everybody will think in one direction. You also have to be mindful that human beings are naturally selfish. So they think about their interests first. So you're saying don't collect taxes from small businesses, right? So you expect small businesses to be happy, but the person that is collecting the taxes, you think they'll be happy. They will not be happy. We're saying low-income earners should not pay tax, middle-income earners should pay lower taxes, but the rich people should pay a little bit more. You think the rich people will be happy? They will not be happy.
That's true.
So, and sometimes the reason why some stakeholders are not happy are not things they can say in the public. So they'll look for a proxy issue to continue to fight. Otherwise, you would imagine, why is it that if all the issue you have is the way we share VAT revenue, why are you asking us to withdraw the bills? There are actually 4 bills, and all that they're disagreeing with is in just one bill. In that one bill, you have more than 100 provisions. You disagree with one. Why don't you ask us to amend it, which we can do in 2 minutes? Why is the solution to go and withdraw it? And I'll be honest with you, there are some sub-nationals that are not happy that we're exempting low-income earners. They said that's everybody that is paying IGR in their states. They won't come on TV and tell you we are fighting them because they're exempting low-income earners. So our approach is just to be engaging with everybody, try and explain it to them, be constructive. We're not fighting. It's for the interest of our country, like NLC, for example. You would imagine ordinarily, if we have a tax bill that is exempting 90% of all workers,
You will not say you don't.
1.7 million naira per month or less, you pay lower tax. I don't know anyone in NLC that is any more than that. If there are people any more than that, they'll be less than 1%. Should it not be NLC going on the field to say, let's pass it like yesterday, right?
That's why you say that there's a proxy issue. So
there's a proxy issue. Sometimes people are not telling you what they are fighting. So some of the issues potentially that can be from NLCs, we're saying some agencies should stop collecting taxes. Those agencies will use their members to fight the bills, right? And the best way to fight it is to say withdraw it, because you don't want to tell people what they are fighting. Exactly. But overall, we think that the vast majority of Nigerians are with us. The key stakeholders, even many of them that are not speaking up, you know, they speak to us privately to say you are doing the right thing. We'll find a way to arrange ourselves properly.
Yes.
So
in line with what you just said, right? For somebody to use somebody to fight, that means the person does not even understand the benefits of what is going on to them. You know, like you said, majority, like some states, most of the people they have in the states are employees, either private sector or the public sector. So can you break down the personal income bracket and rate so that average Nigerian can understand. So if someone is saying, go and fight this, they say, no, I cannot fight something that is beneficial to me, because they don't understand it. So can you break it down so they understand? Even those people in the public sector that is even exempt from paying, let them know so that people don't use them to fight.
Yeah, great point. You know, what we have also seen is a lot of conspiracy theories, misinformation, manipulation. For example, there was a message that went viral in the north where someone said that Tinubu is going to take 1 mudu of every 4 mudu that you produce. So you say that to farmers, of course they're not going to be reading tax laws, right? For them, they're going to fight it. 1 mudu out of 4. Meanwhile, farmers will not pay taxes. At all. You know, so if I want to simplify it, if you earn income of 83,000 naira per month or less, you'll be exempted completely from PAYE and personal income tax. You will not pay any tax. If you earn 1.7 million naira a month, to that 83, you see your tax rate would reduce. Of course, it's not the same reduction for everyone. The more you move up, the lower the reduction you get, because we wanted to take care of the low-income earners more. And then beyond that point, you also see your taxes will be increasing slightly, and it gets to about 25% tax if you're an ultra high net worth individual, like any 20, 30 million naira a month, which by any standard anywhere in the world, even in the US, you'll be top 1%. And by the way, that 25% we're asking them to pay is still one of the lowest in the world. In South Africa, Kenya, UK, you'll be closing to 40, 45% on those kind of income. And by the way, those people who earn those amounts of money are usually business owners. And for their businesses, we're reducing the company's income tax rate from 30% to 25% over the next 2 years. So even for them, there's still a lot of benefit as well that they will gain from it. Yes. Okay. For young Nigerians, for young Nigerians, we've identified some impediments in the tax laws why they are not able to get jobs within the remote digital economy. We think we can create over 1 million jobs for Nigerian youths. Imagine any 1,005, 2,005, dollars per month for 1 million Nigerians. That's huge.
That is good.
Yes, it's good. So for us, we get excited every day because of those possibilities. And we know when we can just get over this, our back and forth, every Nigerian will see the positivity.
Because of time, let me get some more questions.
So with these reforms, one thing, every time we talk about tax, 3 things always come up. Compliance. We've always complained that majority of Nigerians do not even pay tax in the first place, and now we're talking of reduction in the how much they have to pay. So how does this also affect revenue generation if we're reducing? Because many times we've heard government say, well, the only way we need to raise funds is to tax Nigeria, and then you're now saying it's much reduced. And then also, how does this benefit us concerning prices of goods and services and inflation? How does all this reform reflect in these 3 things I've just mentioned?
Brilliant question. Let me start with the last one. So VAT, for example, we identify where is it that Nigerians spend their money. And of course, because of poverty in the land, more than 50% of household income is spent on food. There you spend money on education, on healthcare, transportation, and utility. Combined, those account for about 82% of where we spend our money. If you go down lower the ladder, you spend nearly 100% just trying to feed and cover basic things. So what we've done in those bills is to remove the VAT on those consumption so that life can be easier for those people. Okay. Of course, like you said, that means that government revenue will go down. So we then decided that on non-essential consumptions, where the rich people tend to spend a lot of money, we should adjust the VAT rate upwards. Okay. While doing that, we also ensure that for businesses, they can get credit for any VAT that they pay, whether they pay on assets, on services, on raw materials. So businesses will not carry VAT costs anymore. So there's nothing to pass on to people, right? So our analysis shows that the cost for businesses will come down. Prices of more than 80% of goods and services will come down, and the few that will go up will be borne by middle class, upper class, and rich people. So to the first part of your question, which is really You are reducing taxes, but you want to raise more revenue. How do you balance that equation? Excellent question. So today, I'll say to you that the Nigerian tax net has the wrong people in it. Because we've put low-income and vulnerable people, small businesses inside the net, and we're beating them up. People cannot give what they don't have.
Thank you.
So we almost have designed the system such that the top 5% can get away with not paying taxes.
Exactly.
Whereas in almost every country around the world, that top 5% pay more taxes than the remaining 95%. That's exactly what we're doing now.
Exactly.
So we're confident that we can reduce taxes for the bottom 95% and get 5% to pay a bit more, and overall Nigeria will collect more taxes.
You see, I was
That's
going
where
to
the
come to
secret
that
is.
because
Yes.
my worry is that 5 or 10% of Nigerians, they aren't paying taxes. What are you
Yes.
doing to ensure compliance they pay and also prosecute those? Because these are top people. These are people who are well known, high net worth Nigerians who are well connected.
Yes.
Because the law always has a way of fighting, but corruption fights back. So we understand that you're going after these guys, but they're going to fight back. How do you plan to ensure that they're able
Yes.
the system?
So one of the things we have done inside the bills is to create a framework for what we call tax intelligence. So what we do today in Nigeria is you go to whether they are rich or poor, you ask them, tell me how much you earn. People don't want to tell you
Of
honestly how
course.
much they earn. So what we are doing now is we're going to use third-party data. So nobody transacts with themselves. You can earn income and not tell anybody, but you know what you do, you spend. So when you go to the mall, when you travel abroad, you buy a car, you build a house, you buy a mobile phone, you buy a car, you register with investment banks, stockbroking account, all that intelligence is collected. In fact, Nigeria has agreement with over 100 countries around the world. They're also sending us information that you have abroad. If you like, take the money to the US, UK, Dubai, who would know? So when we write to you, we are telling you about yourself. God help you, you don't cooperate.
Wow.
One of the fastest ways to put people in jail is tax evasion.
Yes.
Right. And you will see that Mr. President has demonstrated 100% commitment to this process. That's what we needed. We've not had that before in Nigeria. It will not be perfect, but we'll make significant progress over the next 1 to 2 years. We're going to start off, once we get our bills passed, with what we call a voluntary disclosure program to allow people to come forward
Tell us what you
voluntarily.
have.
Yeah.
And we make it clear to you, if you don't come forward though,
What's to
whatever
find you?
happens after that,
See.
it's on you. So I think this is the way to move Nigeria forward. These reforms will be transformative, and it will turn Nigeria to that country where we can all be proud of.
So two things worry me when I hear. I saw your, the Senate's briefing that you did. I think was it the National Assembly briefing,
Yeah.
and you had said this. I wondered why this president? Why is President Tinubu, who is not presently loved, so loved by his people, taking this risk of these reforms? Because we've always taxed the most vulnerable. We enjoy it. It's the not
easy.
they'll
Lowest
tell
hanging
you mass
fruit.
production. They are the unpopular ones. They are the most populated ones. Oh yeah, go there, collect all the money. You know, if you see the network, the benefit for bonus, bongo, or the mega recharges are big for those who can afford it. But you see those 100, that's where the money is. Oh yeah, go there, tax them.
It's
Even the
just
cable
easier.
TV, everybody tax them. Everybody's targeting them. Why is he so bold? Wait till they look. You know they fear.
Wetin dey chop?
You know they fear. You just leave out the
You know,
chop.
it takes
know,
a
to do
visionary leader to make these bold decisions that Mr. President is making. So I have been in this system for a long period of time, even though I wasn't in the public sector, but I knew more about public sector than most people in government. I spent over 10 years working with government on reforms and all of that. And I haven't seen any president this committed. This Mr. President did not dictate anything to us other than just setting the tone. I want you to promote businesses, let's create wealth, protect poor people, remove multiple taxation, right? The rest of it is us deciding
How to do that.
how to do it. We do extensive debate, we use data. And he's ready to take all the risks because the blame is first and foremost on him,
Here.
right? Including taking a political risk. But he knows that what he's trying to do is good for the country. And by the time we start getting the result, not 5 or 10 years, we're talking about the next 1, 2 years.
Immediately.
Nigerians will be the ones promoting this president themselves. Potentially, he will be our best president ever. You know, whether it's fuel subsidy removal, whether it's naira flotation, we've gone through a lot of pain. Nigerians made sacrifices, but for the first time in the history of Nigeria, this fuel sector has been properly deregulated, and the benefits will start coming in 2025. So I'm very optimistic. I'm very excited at what will happen from this 2025 going forward. And people will see that Mr. President made the right decisions. They were
The second
tough,
thing that
they
scares
were
me-
unpopular, but
Sorry.
they were the right decisions.
I said the president's boldness scared me, but the vulnerable Nigerians we are removing from this bucket are informal business people.
Yeah.
So most people pay salaries, they don't record it. They don't keep a book. They don't keep, you know, how do we ensure that, you know, this privilege we are giving to them now is well captured? How is there an education that you're going to do to inform Nigerians on how important it is to now keep their business books and records?
Yes, so we have a lot of provisions in those bills to encourage formalization. We call it formalization. And what's happening currently is that if you run a small business, you're likely not to understand your tax obligations. So, but when the tax officers show up, they use that as an advantage over you to extort money from you. So what we've done now has taken that risk away from you, so they can't even come to you. Number two is that should anybody come to you for whatever reasons, then we have the Office of the Tax Ombudsman that will defend you at no cost to you. So nobody can just come and harass you anymore. And then what we've also done is to say, if you can just keep whatever record, we have simplified method for keeping records. Some of it is what you do on your phone, your bank account, POS. And then over time, as you keep those records, you get some other advantages in the bills that will enable you to formalize. Because once you formalize, your ability to scale your business and grow. We don't want it to remain small forever. We actually want it to be very big, so you can also be paying taxes as well. So it's a lot of moving parts that are working together overall for the
going back
interest
to
of
what
the
you
country.
said earlier, you know, Nigerians at the end of the day, everybody around the world works to be able to retire. So what happens to statutory deductions such as pensions and national housing fund contributions? What happens to that?
Yes, so we have full deductions for that. So we want Nigerians to continue to do that. Save for your retirement, save for building a house like National Housing Fund, insurance scheme. All those ones are statutory deductions that are recognized in the bills we have before the National Assembly, which means you do that, you get a tax benefit. And if you then retire and you withdraw the money back, it's totally tax-free. So we are mindful of that as well. In fact, one of the things we debated was, how can we make Nigeria an attractive location for people to want to retire in this country? I was reading on my way here, somebody said, if you want to retire in France, be mindful of this. Maybe if they don't like to retire in France, they should bring all their money and come and spend it in Nigeria. We'll take care of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another thing, you know, Nigerians always talk about when we talk about taxes, how are they even using my money? I cannot see it anywhere. So the utilization of this tax, what is the plan? Where is it geared towards that Nigerians can see?
Yeah, fantastic. So, you know, the work of our committee is not just tax, it's fiscal reform. So it has the component about governance around fiscal issues, revenue transformation, then you have economic growth and competitiveness. So we're looking at revenue reform, including taxes, spending, and borrowing. So under our spending policy, we have a document that we call National Fiscal Policy. So it hasn't been as popular as the tax bills, but it's actually even more fundamental than the tax bills. It sets out how government should spend our money. You must do priority of spending. You cannot just go and build an airport because the governor and their friends are flying when you don't have primary schools and health centers,
Exactly,
right?
to prioritize.
And then we also have a transformation of the budgeting process as part of the reforms, including what we have sent to the National Assembly to amend the Constitution so that nobody will reverse these reforms. And then, so issues where Nigerians say, oh, cost of governance is too high. In our reforms, that's going to be fixed permanently because it prescribes a percentage that you must not exceed for cost of governance. It tells you the minimum amount you must spend on infrastructure and what you must spend on human capital development with a very transparent framework for reporting your revenue, your spending, and audited financial statements. And in fact, we have the same thing even for local governments.
I love that.
Yeah, so
Absolutely love it.
we can one hand, we can keep hoping that Nigeria will get better, or we can take practical steps.
Yeah.
You know, that's
I
exactly what we're trying to do.
This sounds like
now.
a framework for
It's a
governance.
framework, yes.
Because people now know what to, because half the time they become
Well,
governors,
yes,
become leaders,
yes.
they have no clue.
Yes, yes.
Oh, let us just do airport, let
Yeah.
us just do zoo, let us just do road.
exactly.
But
Legacy
there should be a framework. So I
Legacy
think
project.
that is so fundamental. Well
Because
done.
yeah,
Well
because
done.
you hear things like, you are a governor, you do not even do the road to your village.
your village.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to be doing the road to your
They
village.
should prioritize.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we have to be wrapping up soon.
Yeah, just last question. You know, is there an enforceable force behind this that you have said? Can a governor
Let's hold them
be
accountable.
compelled to do this? And would there be consequence if he doesn't? You know the way our chapter 2 has laudable things, but nobody's compelled. It's not enforceable. So is there such force behind it?
I'll say yes. You know, what we've done is in different ways. We thought that first and foremost, the most potent way you can get politicians to do the right thing is to put it out in the open, right? So if you compel them to put out information, and we're also mobilizing Nigerians, particularly the middle class, to show more interest in governance and be asking questions. It's not the poorest people in the village that will be asking questions.
Yeah.
So they don't even know their rights. You give them small palliative, they are celebrating you, right? And then we have the legal framework, including up to the constitution as to what you must do, when you must do it. We're even hopeful that some of these things will have consequences where you can lose your position in office if you don't comply with those things. So, and then you then find that you empower the ordinary Nigerian to take someone to court. Of course, even if you have immunity, it won't be forever, right? So we have those provisions in those bills and the broader reforms
Sorry
that we're
to cut you
doing.
off a bit, because you see, this is what I'm thinking. Involve private sector with A. Bring the private because they have experience. Now they've involved you as a private sector. You've worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers for years.
Yes.
Now you're bringing in your private sector experience into this, into politicians. Do you think the politicians are ready? Because we've seen a bit of a pushback, right? Now, do you have an idea when you'll be able to pass this bill, given all the consultations you're doing? Number one. Number two, how intense are these politicians against these reforms we're trying to see? Because there will be other reforms in other sectors, and we need to know how to gird up to be able to push back on these politicians. So how has it been working with these politicians, and how they're resisting the private sector initiative? Because as you said, the president did not tell you anything. This is totally private to public concept.
Nigerians.
And
Yes,
Nigerians coming
yes,
saying, look,
yes.
this is what we can do to move forward. So how intense has it been, and how do you think we can move past this?
Yeah, so we have the members of our committee at a point where over 100. So from all the 6 geopolitical zones, private sector, public sector organization, we're working every single day. We had 5 work streams, because the kind of work we did in 1 year, even us, we are surprised that we're able to do that. So, but to your question, I'll say the majority of politicians are supportive because they also want what is good for their country. Where you always get into challenges with politicians, or maybe just people generally, is when there's a clash between the interests of the country and their personal interests. Our own philosophy for the work we're doing is that Nigeria first, Nigeria next, Nigeria at all times. That if Nigeria is working, you find your space under a Nigeria that works. If what you're doing is working for you and it's not working for Nigeria, you should not be doing it, right? So those are the things people are coming to terms with. It's not easy. I have to be honest with you. You're making free money and we say stop making it. You're going to fight. But we think that on the whole, the majority of politicians, and of course, almost every private sector person, aligns with us.
Very quickly, not to forget, internal saboteurs. What are you putting in place? Because Nigerians, as Nima said,
So
the
the Nigerian
Nigerians.
factor, that thing.
No, it's not Nigeria factor. Nigerians factor, because Nigeria itself is its whole. But Nigerians, they're saboteurs. How do you? What technique do you have to?
We've seen that
reduce
already. I won't say that because we don't want to create more enemies. So we've seen even people within the committee that are working against the work we're doing. And it's mostly when there's a clash with their interests. For example, the agencies will say, stop collecting taxes. And then someone who is very influential, their son works as a director in that company. So as far as they're concerned, You want to scrap the agency, what will happen to my son? And they are fighting. They won't come out and tell you that's why they are fighting. But we know that's why they're fighting.
You have interest.
You know, exactly.
Oh, Nigerians.
So I think those are to be expected. I think will happen anywhere in the world. But to the extent that you have the majority and the skill to push through in the direction that the country wants to go, we say ultimately may Nigeria win.
Amen. I think Nara will win. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
We know you've
Thank you
discussed
for
this
having me.
to
Yes.
almost every Nigerian, but you see, when you come and discuss it on your view, it's a whole different thing because we break it down to Nigerians.
Yeah,
Nigerians
in a
understand it
simple
better
form. Yeah.
once we come to this show. So please don't be far from us. We'll be happy to have you anytime you need
Yes.
to talk to Nigerians for real. Come and
This is
see us.
here.
We'll be happy to
I will
have
certainly try my
All
best.
right. That's all we can take on the first show of 2025
in our new studio.
The show has started again, and that's it. We're on the roll. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.